You came out of your mother's womb, a sculpture of brittle bones and wrinkled flesh, glistening in stardust and magic. You are a miracle, child, a lineage of women defying the notion of form. You are art, a body gorging with stories of love and loss, of absence and abundance. You are wild and soft and free, and this is why they call you beautiful.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing fine. This is Borna Kazerani from Melbourne, Australia, and I hope you're really doing fine. Anyways, first of all, thank you so very much for all your lovely comments and great feedback and all your direct messages, and please forgive me if I'm not able to reply you all. Tonight, or today, I'm gonna have a conversation with Wana Udobang, who is an African artist who was born in 1984 in لاگوس, Nigeria in Africa. She studied journalism at the University for Creative Arts in England. She graduated with the first class. Wana is a storyteller, an artist working at the intersections of the writing, poetry, performance, and film. Her poetry interrogates memory, healing, and reimagination. She has 3 studio albums: Dirty Laundry, In a Memory of Forgetting, and Transcendence. Her writing has appeared on BBC Aljazeera The Guardian and other international media. Udobang's video works include Nylon, Warriors, and the archival project Culture Diaries, which documents the works of African artists. Join me for a conversation from Africa. Hello!
Hi!
How are you, gorgeous?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, very well, thank you. So I'm very excited. Thank you very much for accepting a conversation with me. I'm so glad actually I'm having you here today on my show.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime, and I'm very excited. I'm reading lots of questions. So, do you want to say hi to those who are watching us now and are going to watch us later?
What did you say?
Do you want to say hi to those who are watching us now?
Oh, yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Wana from Nigeria, and I'm really excited to be here and share your audience and have a great conversation with you. I've watched your show. You're super cool, so I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much. Wana, okay, I've got a lot of questions, and since I've announced that I'm going to have a conversation with you, so a lot of started sending me like direct messages. But listen, I've got 2 pages of questions. All right. Woo! So I need to
I don't know what you found out. This is too much.
I need to put mine first, and then if I get a chance to go, we will shift it to the people's questions. So,
okay.
All right. So I know you studied journalism at one of the like famous and well-known universities in the UK, and you are an artist and working in different fields such as poetry, storytelling, and film. But I would like to know, why did you become interested to go to England and study journalism?
Well, so I think when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was much younger. And then I think at some point I just felt that it wasn't enough for me to do the kind of things I wanted to do, because I was one of these very young teenagers who was very like, you know, I want to fight injustice and all of these sorts of things. But then it just didn't feel, at some point it didn't feel like it would be enough. So I thought,
you know, doing journalism would allow me talk about the things that were happening, you know, the not so great things that were happening in my community, or, you know, that it was a form of documenting and getting people to be aware of things. And so that was why I chose to study journalism.
Okay.
And so I then studied, but then what also happened was I used to write poetry around when I was 16. I was just, you know, when you're a teenager and you're always sad and depressed and you write a lot of like angry poems or really terrible poems. So I always, from when I was about 16 years old, I was always writing poems. But it was a great way of expressing myself and just catharsis and letting go of things. And so I just continued that anyway. Now, what I was lucky with was because I went to study journalism in an art school, specifically art school, I was exposed to so much art. So my friends were like painters in school. Some of my friends were like glass makers. Some were filmmakers. I would be on their sets with them. My flatmates were animators. So it exposed me to just a lot of art and just like, I fell in love really with art in that space, essentially. So for me, it was like, I found myself doing journalism, but always still being interested in art, whether it's documenting it or being a part of the creative process as well.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that was how it all happened.
And how was the experience studying in England?
What did you say?
How was the experience?
How was the experience?
Yeah.
Studying, it was great. I mean, it was great. I'm trying to even think. So my school was in a small town.
Okay.
A very small town.
Okay.
And I'm a city girl. So that was an interesting adjustment. You know, it wasn't racially diverse. So I was one of very, very few Black people in the school as well. So which definitely makes you stand out. So everybody knows you. I worked at the local supermarket, and so everybody knew me there. So it was interesting, but also fun at the same time, I think. When you're with students, there's just all sorts of craziness that you get up to. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I'm someone who throws myself into experiences. Yeah, so even when, you know, even if a place is not where I'm typically used to, because I'm used to like, so I come from Lagos, which is a very busy city. Then I was living in London anyway for a few years before my university. Yes. So so I go from London, which is also this very busy multicultural space, to a really small town, which is like, it feels like a village. I called it a village, but they claimed it's not a village, that it's a town. But again, it was just interesting to, you know, to just be in that space and immerse myself. So I enjoyed all of it, to be honest. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I made lots of interesting friends. Yeah, I loved it.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. All right. You need to listen to this question carefully with my funny accent. So,
we all have accents. Hey. All of us have accents.
Exactly. All right. I've spoken to many artists and people from Africa on my show. And every time I talk to someone from Africa, I realize that the mentality that we've got or we've seen and heard about Africa and African is very different and wrong. For example, the mentality that I already had about the country of Africa was like, Africa is such a really poor country. Everyone is dying, and people are very poor and miserable, which is large wrong. And that's why, that's the way actually the media have shown us.
Yeah.
You know, and Africans are amazing artists and educated, in particular in our generation. And
yeah.
But the media like talk very little about good things happening and unique African artists. Why do you think is that like that?
Ooh, okay, so I think the first thing I would address is, as all Africans always say this, Africa is not a country. It is a continent of 50-something countries, you know, first of all. So that's the first thing. So part of what the media does is make Africa a country. So it homogenizes all of us and makes us seem like it's just one person, it's just one place. While it's a continent with many different countries in there. The news media, especially the Western media, is controlled by Westerners and white people. And so, you know, there's always something about superiority anyway. And so negative news sells, you know? So we always want to, at the end of the day, we always want to be above somebody else. So it's easier to make people look like, oh, they're all this and they're all that. And it's part of the whole idea of superiority and supremacy anyway. And this didn't start just from the media. You know, we were, African countries were colonized by the French, the British, the Portuguese, and the Spanish. You actually have a Spanish speaking African country as well. Yes. So it's one of the Guineas, I think it's Guinea-Bissau or something. Yeah, one of the Guineas anyway. So yeah, so you have Spanish Guinea. So you do have, we were colonized anyway. So this idea of superiority and Africa as a dark continent didn't just start today. It's always been, because it's how people conquer. And you conquer through narratives.
Yes.
Right? You conquer and you control through narratives. And so this narrative and this storytelling allows the world to believe that these people are savages and it's all a jungle out there, and they, you know, and these kinds of things happen. Different African countries have their different problems and their different amazing things, like every other country on the planet.
Absolutely.
Every other country. So every country has poor people, has rich people, has middle class people. Nigeria has the same thing. Ghana has the same thing. Kenya has the same thing. South Africa has them. They all have different unique problems as well. And even much more, I mean, there's so much more complexity that I can't really go into, because we'll just be here all day about that. Because even a lot of these countries are constructions, right? They're colonial constructions.
Tell me.
So even in understanding the problems within a lot of these countries, you can't even like decipher them instantly, because they were separate entities and they're constructed. They're all like captured places based off of like colonial rule. Yeah. So there's so much to it. But I think there's always a narrative of superiority from the person, whoever controls the media or the story tells you what they want to tell you.
I was ashamed.
And we know that bad news sells.
Of course. You definitely know as a journalist. Of course.
Exactly.
Also, always a negative advertisement.
Yes. Even as a freelance journalist, when I pitch stories, if I pitch a story on something negative or something bad that's happening, I get a response from an editor immediately. If I say, oh, I want to profile this person who is doing this thing, they're like, okay, well, I'll let you know in a few weeks if we have any room for that, you know, la-di-da-di-da. But if I say, oh, these people are fighting in this community and they've killed 20,000 people. Now, when can you file in the story?
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, the projects that you've been involved as an artist are about cultural diaries, which documents the works of African artists. You're doing similar things, kind of what I am doing.
Yes, I am, yes.
But I'm doing it internationally, and your focus is more African. And so tell me, well done. So tell me about this project. Where did you get that idea, and how did you start it, and where did it start from? Tell me.
Okay, so a few years ago, I think I started 5 years ago, and I felt like I love, as I said, I love art, and I felt like every time, even my own reference for arts was always very Eurocentric, and it felt like, yeah, it was always very European. My reference for art was always very European.
Okay.
So it was, you know, and then I felt as though I moved back to Nigeria in 2010. And then, of course, I became like involved in a huge artistic community. So I was always with writers, my friends, I had friends who were, you know, visual artists, different filmmakers, different kind of interesting people. And I felt like, you know, I started learning about my own sort of artistic heritage, right? So meeting people who were creating from not only Nigeria, but across the continent and learning about them. And he was like, I couldn't easily find information about them. Right? So when you read the textbook, you would find Dali, you would find Matisse, you would find all these people. But it was never that easy to find like Nigerian painters or South African visual artists or people or Senegalese, you know, that kind of thing. And so for me, I was like, okay, I may not have access to these older people, and some have died anyway, but I can do something to start archiving the present, especially because I have access to the artists in the present. You know, some of them are my friends anyway. Some of them I meet them, you know, through going to events or going to an exhibition. And I was like, I want to archive the present. And so that's how I started. So I literally just started by interviewing my friends and recording them and keeping them. And so for me, it's an ongoing archival project. Most of the people I've interviewed are from Nigeria. That's because that's where I am right now. And I don't have funding to travel to interview. But once I do have the opportunity, I'm going to actually have more people even in diaspora. So Africans who live in the diaspora as well, because I think they contribute to this canon of African arts.
Okay, that's
so that's the vision for the project. So I want to be able to continue to archive through video artists from Africa and outside of the continent who have African heritage as well.
That's amazing. Please keep doing it. Please keep doing it. Because
Thank you.
Yeah, I find it very interesting, and that's what I wanted to do. My main when I started doing this show, actually, my main focus was Australian initially, and then real Australian are Aboriginal people, all right? And community is not something easy that you can easily have access to. And I know the Aboriginal people are amazing artists, but they don't have a lucky Instagram, or they don't have any social platforms that they can and they don't want to be interviewed. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? And they just want to talk to people, say to people just by selling their arts. That's the only way they want to communicate and make it communication. That's why I found it's very interesting. But if I wanted to just focus on Aboriginal Australian or Aboriginal here in Australia, or just Australia, was very difficult. I had to wait for days and days, and still don't hear anything from them. Anyways, the first things that caught my attention more than anything else on your page is the project called Transcendence.
Transcendence.
Transcendence. Yes.
Transcendence, yeah.
And we have already showed at the beginning of this conversation, and I think this project is unique. Tell us a little bit about your collaboration with this project.
Okay, so I think everyone always kind of mixes it up. So the project you're talking about is a project by a Swedish designer called Mina Lundgren, and she has a label, a design label called Notion of Form, and so yes. And so with Notion of Form, she's been working with this photographer, Nigerian photographer called Wana Udobang. And so they've been using photography and design and merging that together in an artistic way, but also a way to say the body is form. So how is the body sculpture? How is it formed? And so this time around, they wanted to do a project with a bigger body, a plus size body.
Okay.
And so I've known Lucky for a while, and we had talked about working together anyway. So he says, oh, Wana, I have this project. I want you to come and do it. I was like, oh, are you? Okay, cool. And so he sent me an email, and I was like, okay, oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to have to take my clothes, you know? But I just felt like it was perfect for me to do it as well. And his work is incredible, so I respect his work a lot. And I believe in those things. You know, I believe that the body is like, you know, it has stories embedded in the body, you know? Yeah, like we keep memories inside of us. We carry memories with us. We carry emotions with us. So we are formed in both a very like spiritual way and the very physical way as well. How we move through the world is form and it's sculptural. So I was very happy to do the project. And so when we did the project, I was working on a poetry album called Transcendence. So yes. So my Transcendence is my poetry album. And so I was working on that. And so when they took the pictures, I was like, oh my God, these pictures are amazing. Can you give me one and I can put that on the cover of my album? So it sort of just all like worked together.
Amazing.
You know, so one of them is an album and one of them is a photo project. So the project with Notion of Form is a series of pictures and a video. And so I wrote a poem for the video as well.
Amazing.
So yeah.
I
thank you.
Love it. And I think the combination of what you've just mentioned are gone and perfectly. All right. Let's take a break. I mean, I'm gonna take a break, not you, but you. I want to ask you a favor. I want to, you know, previous episode. So I want to ask you, please give us a tour, like just
a little tour.
And you know,
okay,
what you got there, and there we go.
Okay, let's see what we have. So I did say I was gonna play a video for you.
Thank you.
Let me see. We have to turn on the computer. Let's see, what do we have here? Okay, cool. And I have to, so hold on a second. Sure. Let me turn that over. Yay. Okay, so this video is called The Revolution. Oh, that is part of the video.
We are the unanswered dream you have been waiting for. We are the rebirth to your shrunken spirit. We are liquid gold and fairy dust. We are DNA, a tapestry of miracle, myth, and magic. We are punching between ideas and dreams. We are connecting galaxies. We are weaving planets. We are multitasking. We are the inheritance of greatness. We are unlocking the blessings of our mother's tongues. We are carrying the universe in the chamber of our chest. We are made to walk on water. So if they ever tell you that this revolution will not be televised, tell them that we stood at the foot of our ancestors, pulling ourselves back from the dead. Tell them that we are our grandmother's buried bones. Tell them that we have unknotted the silence binding our throats. Tell them that we are writing our memoirs in real time. That we have unknotted the silence binding our throats. Tell them that we are writing our memoirs. That we have unknotted the silence binding our throats. Tell them that we are writing our memoirs. Memoirs in real time. So if they ever tell you that this revolution will not be televised, tell them that we are the revolution.
Yay.
Woo! I do love it. Who was it director? That I loved it.
So yes, that's the revolution. Do you want to see another video?
Yes, why not?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so this video is called Dear Father. And I collaborate with a dancer, a Nigerian dancer called Dolapo Phillips, and she's an amazing dancer. And so she's the one who appears in the video. So let's go.
There you go. Oh my God.
Dear Father, you are an uncomfortable conversation. Each memory, a running tear scalding my face, my heart is an open wound. Dear Father, you are a tedious sentence. Each word convoluted like the stitches looped across my chest. My skin is mangled in scars. Dear Father, with every misstep I feel the ground limp beneath my feet. Every day is a balancing act of forgiveness and letting go, of which both I feel recklessly. Dear Father, I'm finding my way back to anger because anger is a name I can pronounce. I seek to ask for one question, yet I fear I know the answer. I will ask you regardless. Why did you stop holding my hand? Dear Father, why did you let me go?
Yes. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so let me see. Okay, what do we have? I'm just going to show you my bookshelf.
Okay.
This is like half of it. There's some downstairs, but you know, running up and down is going to be too stressful. But let's see what we have. Okay. So I do like watching films a lot. So here's like a DVD collection. Let me see. This is what we have. So here's there's movies. There's a lot of movies in there. And then let's go to books. Books at the bottom. I don't know if you can see, but let me see. So this is a book. Here's some books there. This is a book by one of my friends who is a Nigerian poet. Her name is Titi Lokwe. It's called This Is How We Disappear. I love this very much. This is another poetry collection I've been reading by a Chinese-British poet called Mary Jane Chan, called Flesh. It's a beautiful collection of poems as well. And then, of course, we have Teju Cole here. Here is Buchi Emecheta, who is one of the Nigerian greats.
Okay,
And this one's called...
Why do you like that book? Tell me about this book.
This one's like her autobiography. She has so many. She has quite a few, but you know, her work is very feminist in nature. It's just very powerful work. Okay. Tejukul, he writes, this is an essay collection, and he writes really incredible essays. So his essays are so beautiful. So he's an American, he's Nigerian American. And so this is his collection called Known and Strange Things. Let me see what else I have. There's so much. There is Yewande Omotosho, who's also another Nigerian writer. This is Ta-Nehisi Coates. I love this book so much. I love this book. This is Ta-Nehisi Coates, the American writer. Yeah. I love this book so much because it literally sounds like he's talking. So it's written as a letter to his son. That's how the book is written. So it's a non-fiction book, and it's written as a letter to his son, and it literally feels like he's talking, he's just talking. And so I think I really love that so much. So yeah, that's another book I really like. There's some other African, so this is Noviolet Bulawayo, who is a Zimbabwean writer as well.
Okay.
This is Tejukul's Open City. I really like this one too. Now this book it's a really interesting book because it's pretty much this character walking through a city and talking. So it feels like stream of consciousness, and he's walking through the city and he's talking and he's telling the stories, and it's a lot of just like stream of consciousness, but I feel like it's such a beautiful book. I like it a lot. There's Americana by Adichie there, this is by Chimamanda Adichie, which is it's being turned into a series for HBO at the moment, right now. Yes. Yeah. So these are the few here. This is a autobiography, a memoir by the late Binyavanga Wainaina, who was one of Africa's, most amazing writers. And he's late now, he's passed away now, but he was an incredible person, incredible friend. He's an amazing guy. So yeah, that's a bulk of it. Let me see what else I have. Okay, hold on a second. So a few years ago, I was in a movie.
Oh, la, la.
I was in a, look at that.
Tell me.
Yes, a few years ago, I was in a movie called Frontier. It was a French film, and I don't speak a word of French, so I had to learn French to learn my lines and to be in it. So that's the poster from it that I kept. So that's my name there. So yeah. Hold on a second. Yay, I'm back.
Okay, so do you want to still go down, or do you want to go?
So we can. Let's put it back. Ooh, I'm just sweating already. Yay.
Sorry, I had to get a shot of something. The comments that was quite inappropriate, so I had to report it to Instagram later on. So that's what I do, because some people say the things that I don't appreciate that. Anyways, let's move. There are lots of products. Get yourself ready.
I can barely hear you. What did you say? There are lots of what?
Okay, get yourself ready. Okay, because this is
okay.
The question I want to ask you, and I want you. All right. There are lots of protests or demonstrations are happening about Black Lives Matter, and I would like to know, what do you think of it, regardless of yourself or being a Black lady? All right, what do you think about that?
What do I think of Black Lives Matter as a movement?
As a movement, and what is your perspective about?
Yeah, I think it's very necessary and very important, and unfortunate as well that we have to be in a point in the life where we need to tell the world that Black lives do matter. I mean, like, it's crazy, at the end of the day. So just letting you know that the fact that it's a call to, Black Lives Matter is a call to action, it's a call for our attention. And I think that the world should also feel sad that, you know, we have to tell them that our lives are important. You know, like the world should really like think about it.
This is crazy.
That you treat people like they're not human, and they're just telling you that our lives matter. Just allow, like, give us like our rights, you know. So yeah, I think, I mean, there's so much, there's nothing really to say about the movement other than, you know, it is sad that this is what we have to experience in the world because, you know, specifically in, like, you know, in the US and the UK, Black lives are just seen as dirt. So I think it's very unfortunate that this is what we have to see, and the world has to see people being killed live on television over and over again to pay attention to sort of systemic oppression and systemic racism and things like that. Like, is this how gruesome things have to be, where people's lives they're so worthless that they become like a form of entertainment, where you kill them in broad daylight on television, like and people are filming you and you're comfortable just doing that. So you don't even care. And I think, so that's really all I have to say about Black Lives Matter. Like, I think people need to just think about it.
This is just stupid. I can't get it.
Yeah.
But you're similar in the same age, but people doing much better in our generation. You know what I mean? And they're doing much. They don't care. I don't care you're black. I don't care you're white. I don't care. We don't care. You know what I mean? And age people, they do more care, or elderly, or the older people. But in our generation, because of the social medias or platforms, helps everyone to become more educated. But my last question for you is, you've got your own platform, okay? And
what did you say? Sorry. Can you repeat that again? I think
you've got your own platform, okay?
Yes.
And you have your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
And as an educated and successful Black woman who has her own audience, what do you do to educate people to understand better that there is no difference between Black people and white people other than color?
So you know, the thing is, I think a lot of my own focus might not be race specific, but it is at the same time. I don't know how to explain this. I think what's important to me is, through my writing or through my interviewing, I'm giving people a chance to speak for themselves. So one thing I try not to do is speak on behalf of anybody. So I hope that my work gives people to speak for themselves. And I mean, I don't believe in color blindness. I think that, you know, we are people, everybody has a different color. But no, you know, so I think it's important for us to also acknowledge that. And yeah, so I think that for me, it's saying, how do I use my art to give room for people to express themselves and to speak their truth? And hopefully, I think that learning happens in so many different ways. For me, it's not necessarily about this direct teaching, but I think even being visible is the kind of teaching, right? Giving someone else a space to be visible is a kind of teaching too. And so I think that's how I think of what I do. It's how do I amplify voices and different kinds of marginalized voices, you know? Yeah, so I think that's what's important to me. How do I amplify voices? How do I allow them speak about their experiences and their lived experiences and how it affects them, whether that's relating to gender, relating to race, relating to sexuality. For me, it's important that people get to, you know, I mean, I think there is the author Arundhati Roy says there's nothing like the voiceless. There's only the deliberately silenced.
Yes.
That's what she says. Yeah. And so for me, I really try to practice this thing where I want to unsilence people's voices as opposed to even trying to speak on their behalf. So I think that's what's really important to me. Saying how can people being seen, people being visible, and people being allowed to speak is necessary. And whatever education you take from that is fantastic.
It's fantastic. Wana, it was a lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Eventually we made it after 2 months.
I know. I'm so sorry. We were supposed to do this ages ago, that I wasn't feeling too well and things were happening. But I'm happy we got to do it anyway.
It was my pleasure and really pleased having you on my show. I hope to see you one day in the reality. I
hope so. I've never been to Australia, so I hope that I will be there sometime soon. We never know. It feels like the other side of the world, but you never know. I might be there sooner than you know.
Yes, there you go. It's just one continent from another continent.
Yeah, just one continent away, yes.
That's crazy. All right. So is there anything else that you want to talk about and I didn't ask you?
What did you say? Sorry? The sound is so bad.
That's right. Is there anything else that you want to talk and I didn't ask you?
Ooh, you're going to have to repeat that.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say and I didn't ask you?
Okay. Well, I don't know. You can check out my albums. Transcendence is on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on where else? Yeah, it's everywhere on every streaming platform. So it's called Transcendence. You can also check out Culture Diaries on YouTube as well. So I'm youtube.com/Miss Wana. So if you go to Miss Wana on YouTube, you will find Culture Diaries. About 30 interviews there. You can watch and learn about, and basically you're meeting amazing, incredible Nigerian artists. They're visual artists, they're musicians, they're cooks, they're designers, they're just amazing people. So yeah. And follow me on Instagram as well.
Follow her.
And if you're a Nigerian watching this, please follow Borna as well. He's pretty amazing. So yeah.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate
you.
And it
was
lovely talking to you. And
thank you. Lovely talking to you too.
Thank you. And I hope we're going to have an amazing time. Amazing time.
Yeah. Okay. Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Bye. Bye. It was an amazing conversation with Wana Udobang. So if you want to find out more about Wana, you can go to her page on Instagram. It's dancing. Go to her page on Instagram and then check her albums out through Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, and also check her Instagram. Follow her. Support her. I love you all. Take care. Bye.
Your mother says that you are spilling with guts. She kisses her teeth every time you sit, says you spread and sink into the living room couch, says your back has no arc and your bum has no bounce. Every time she sees you, her voice is thickened with anger, because you fail miserably at this kind of self-sculpting. You are painted in your father's skin. You wear his frugal hands and slip right into his flat feet. And this is why she still sends you a care package of creams, teas, and potions in between. You see, your mother is doused in lemon cream. She is burning on both cheeks. Her hips are stuffed in girdles. She is crackling at the seams. Her blood is a cocktail of diets and diuretics. This is why she soaks your breakfast in chilies, says the heat will purge you of your ugliness. Since your body is twice its size, she gives you a double dose of everything, including her regret. When you become a woman, you'll forget how many abortions spilled from between your thighs. You'll forget the number of boys you let climb over you just because they called you beautiful. When you become a woman, you will have conversations with your mother. Tell her how all the women inside of you will never match up to the daughter in her head. Tell her how you tiptoed till you tippled from your own inadequacy. You will tell her that when your body became anesthetized by expectations, it was easy to consider your veins as tightropes. And then she will tell you how she strung amulets around her waist, burned candles, kept vigil, bathed in prayers, drenched her pillows in anointed oil. You'll read about epigenetics. Discover that your mother's trauma could bury itself inside your marrow without altering your bones. And when you become a woman, your body will become an archive of memories. Your body will become a landmine of loss. You will become a dirge. You will wonder where beginnings stop and end. When you become a woman, your mother will tell you how she mutilated her body, splayed each part to be sanctified by the sun so that your father could love her. When you become a woman, when you become a woman, you will learn that the easiest person to forgive